Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tay Talks Positivity. This is your girl Tay, ready to help you get your week started with some positive vibes and good energy. Now, when I prepare my notes and outline for each episode of the show, I try my best to do them in advance. There are random moments when I'm out and I may see something or even hear something that makes me think about how I can apply those things to what I do for the show. Just like the time I was in Walmart and I saw the writing on a lady's shirt, I try to open my eyes for signs. And a few weeks ago, I was at the doctor's office. I was watching the TV and scrolling through my phone while I was waiting for my turn to be seen. There wasn't any show or movie or anything playing. It was one of those repetitive help tip slideshows. Every now and then I'd look up and would see what was coming across the screen. It just so happened that one time when I looked up, on the side of the screen, there was a phrase. When I saw it, something told me to remember what it was. So I opened the notes app on my phone and I typed it in so I wouldn't forget about it. What I read that day, ironically, would end up applying to a situation I encountered a little later on. Since it has relevance to something that I just had to deal with, I thought it would be better to move it up to this week. So this week's affirmation is I will respond, not react. I know some of you are asking what's the difference. So when I looked up the definition for respond, it said to reply or answer in words. Then I looked up the definition for react, which is to exert a reciprocal or counteracting force or influence. So basically, to respond is to use words, and to react is to use some sort of force of action. Now, this reminded me of a story from when I was a kid. I was always the one that reacted during situations. There was one time in middle school that a friend of mine was bothering me. We was walking down the hallway and he kept just being annoying, so to speak. He wasn't doing anything wrong, but I guess that day I just wasn't in the mood. So when he kept fucking around, I got mad and turned around and kicked him in the balls. He ended up telling somebody what I had done, and because of my reaction was, I ended up in ISD. Instead of responding to his antics and letting him know that I wasn't in the mood to play around that day, I reacted with my emotions and showed him instead that I wasn't in the mood. In the moment, I felt as though he was trying to take me off course and make me act out of character. In life, there are going to be people or even things that will push you to the point where you will either respond or react. Now, it's up to you to choose which you do. Each one will come with some sort of blowback, either negative or positive. When I reacted to him constantly irking me, it ended up landing me in an even worse situation than I started off in. Here I was being annoyed by somebody and reacting, but I ended up being the one in trouble and sitting in ISD. In the moment, I didn't think about using words because back then I wasn't the type that was much on talking. Not a lot of people know, but when I was in middle school, after that particular situation, the school put me in anger management for 2 years. Now, I remember being happy because it got me out of class a couple days a week. And I don't know if you would call it an instructor or coach, but I remember her name was Amy. She was mad cool. And I must admit, very good at her job. When I walked in there, I didn't honestly think I had a problem with my anger. I was always able to justify my reactions, or at least in my head, I believed I was. She was the first person that made me learn to take a moment to breathe before I responded. And I still use that tactic to this day when I feel like someone is trying to push my buttons or get me to react or bring me out of my character, bring out the old me. I say all this to say that there are going to be things and sometimes even people that are going to try to push you to your limit. They're going to try to bring you back to the old you. But it's up to you how you respond. And like I always say at the end of each podcast, when someone or something negative tries to bring you down, just let your light and aura of positivity shine bright, because you never know. You may be that light that they need to change their mood for the day. Now, before I close out today's episode, I did want to tell y'all about another podcast that I came across the other day called Keep It Positive, Sweetie, hosted by my girl, Crystal Renee Hazlett. For those of you who don't know who she is, you must be hiding under a rock. She stars in my favorite BET shows right now as the character Fatima on Sisters and Zatima, also on BET Plus. Now, I don't know how I came across her podcast, but let me tell you, I am so glad I did. She started her second season and had Tyler Perry on the first episode that I had the chance of listening to. When I say they had me clapping and hollering, man, y'all listen. I highly recommend y'all take a listen to her show. Now, her episodes are about an hour plus long, so be prepared to listen for a while. But when I tell you the length of the episode was well worth it, I was able to take away so much from it. Even things that would apply to our affirmation this week. So, when you get a chance, I do recommend listening to Keep It Positive, Sweetie, if you haven't already. It's available on all platforms. One of the things I took from listening to Crystal Renee Hayes' podcast is what my goal for this week is going to be. My goal is to speak into existence what it is I'm going to achieve. Now, I'm going to speak into existence that one day I will be able to sit down and talk with Crystal Renee Hazlett and just vibe off of positivity and how we apply so much positivity in our lives. I'm manifesting it right now. Now, y'all heard it here first. So when that day comes, and I'm positive that it will, just remember that on this day, I told you it will happen. Now, on that note, I'm going to let everybody go so y'all can get y'all week started. And always remember, affirm it, apply it, achieve it. This is your girl, Tay.